As a kid, all a nigga wanna have was a Burberry scarf and $3 in my pocket. Instead I got beat with a switch, but I don't give a fuck, but it's on my body. Scars all up on me, but I run around from everybody. Life lesson learned, I better learn from this bitch, nobody. She pushed me around, she didn't give no motherfucks about it. She broke my heart 3 times, but I ain't getting...
Miami Hurricanes and the Florida State Seminoles are going to be matched up this weekend in their really heated rivalry game. Now, the Miami Hurricanes have won 3 straight games against the Florida State Seminoles. And if you're a Miami Hurricanes fan, you're feeling pretty confident about your chances to win this game. But with this being a rivalry game, it doesn't matter how good of a team you think you may have, what you did before, what you did last week, because none of that matters, because this is a rivalry game. Anybody can win. Okay? Now, the Miami Hurricanes have the more superior team than Florida State, but that doesn't mean they can't lose. Let me give you guys a prime example about these rivalry games. So last year, Alabama was defeated by Auburn. Now, despite the fact that Alabama was without Tua Tagovailoa, they were still the far better team in that game. And they still lost the game despite being a better team. So, I mean, that just goes to show you that anything can happen in these rivalry games. And if you are a diehard college football fan, you understand that, in a rivalry game, anything can happen, okay? So if you're the Miami Hurricanes, you're coming off of a really impressive win against the Louisville Cardinals last weekend, 47-34, and your team looks really good so far. And for the Florida State Seminoles, for the Florida State Seminoles, all you really can do is laugh right now, because their program right now is a joke to say the least. Okay, you lose to a freshman quarterback in your first game under Mike Norvell, Jeff Sims, and Georgia Tech, who is doing the same thing your program is doing right now in rebuild mode. And despite the fact that you had a lead in that game, you still find a way to lose that game. Despite the fact that Georgia Tech couldn't kick a field goal to save their life, nothing was really going right for Georgia Tech. And although they gave you ample opportunities to win the game, you still find a way to allow Georgia Tech to win the game to a freshman quarterback. Okay? Then, not only do you have a really bad week 1 showing against Georgia Tech, but your head coach isn't even going to be available in this game because he's came down with the beer bug virus. And that's unfortunate for him. Prayers up to him. I hope that nothing happens. I'm hoping that Mike Norvell and his family are able to heal up from, the bug virus, and they all come back in full health, not wishing anything bad on them. But I'm just saying, it seems like nothing goes right for this Florida State football program. It seems like this program is in constant, destruction. So, you're going to have an interim head coach on the sideline for this game, which is going to be really big because in a rivalry game, you would love to have your head coach on the sideline. But he's not going to be there. He's going to have an interim coach filling in for him. And for FSU, man, they have a lot of things that they have to clean up if they want to win this game. The first thing has to be that offensive line. That offensive line struggled against Georgia Tech. A Georgia Tech defensive line that, by the way, wasn't all that great in 2019. And they really struggled. So how's this offensive line going to fare against a really talented defensive line for the Miami Hurricanes? You got to worry about Jalen Phillips and Quincy Roche, who are pretty much the 2 best pass rushers on this Miami Hurricanes defense. Especially Quincy Roche. Quincy Roche had 2.5 tackles for loss against Louisville. And we already know about Jalen Phillips. Okay, you can't forget about him. So, there is a lot of talent on this defensive line for the Miami Hurricanes that Florida State's offensive line has to worry about. And are they going to be able to handle up front? Not just if this offensive line comes into this game and they play how they played against Georgia Tech, it is going to be a long afternoon for that Florida State offense, okay? And this is going to be a game that if FSU's offensive line doesn't improve, a lot of players on this Miami Hurricanes defensive line, they're just going to come into this game looking to get their sack numbers up, basically, if this offensive line for FSU doesn't come ready to play. Also, FSU in their own right on the defensive line has lack of a pass rush. Aside from Marvin Wilson being their best player on the defensive line, they really don't have anybody who's able to get constant or consistent pressure on the quarterback. So aside from Marvin Big Man Wilson, they don't have anybody. So, if you want to beat the Miami Hurricanes, you got to be able to get pressure on De'Aaron King. You got to get him out of sorts because this Miami Hurricanes offense, last week against Louisville looked like they could do no wrong. Okay? So, I mean, if you're FSU, you got to get pressure on De'Aaron King. You got to get him down on the ground, okay? Like, it's just not enough to get in his face, anything like that. Like, you actually have to wrap this man up and get this man on the ground, which is a daunting task because of how elusive he is at being able to extend plays in the pocket, and if nobody's open, being able to tuck in and run. So, I mean, this FSU offensive line has to work cut out for them, and this FSU defensive line has to work cut out for them. And I mean, even this defense for Florida State doesn't even look all that great. I mean, their two best players, like I said earlier, defensive tackle Marvin Wilson and cornerback Asante Samuel Jr. That's pretty much it. So this defense going against a really good Miami Hurricanes offense this year with De'Aaron King, with this good group of tight ends that they have to stop, Will Mallory, Brevin Jordan, the receivers that they have, Mark Pope. So, I mean, there is a lot of talent that Florida State has to stop on the defense side of football. And are they going to be able to do that? I don't know. I mean, if you're a Florida State fan, I mean, at this point, all you really can do is pray. That's pretty much it. So, I mean, for the Miami Hurricanes, this offense looks really good. I mean, it is a breath of fresh air to the fact that you don't have Mark Richt calling plays anymore. You don't have Dan Enos on the sideline doing basically the same thing, run, pass on third down. Like, it's a breath of fresh air to actually see a new offense, a shotgun-based offense, and actually Miami having a really good and consistent rushing attack. Cameron Harris is an absolute beast. This dude had 134 rushing yards. And, I mean, my dude, NMD TV, if you're watching this dude loves him some Cameron Harris. It seems like anytime the Miami Hurricanes has to compose themselves on offense, the guy that they go to get them back in the right direction is Cameron Harris. Like, look at last week against Louisville. It seemed like Louisville, they scored. It seemed like the momentum was on Louisville's side. Everything was about, the game was about to change for Louisville's favor. But instead, the next drive, Miami comes in and they hand the ball off to Cameron Harris, and he gets things back in the right direction. So it seems like Cameron Harris is the guy who is the go-to man to get things kind of going back in the right track. Like, Cameron Harris is the guy that the Miami Hurricanes lean on to when they need a big play. So, I mean, if you're Florida State, you have to be able to stop Cameron Harris. And I don't really think they're going to be able to do it, because Florida State really struggled to stop the run game of Georgia Tech. And if you struggle to stop the run against Georgia Tech, then, I mean, I don't really think you're going to be able to stop this run game for Miami. Not only do you have to worry about Cameron Harris at the halfback position and his ability to run the football, but you also have to worry about De'Aaron King. So, I mean, it's pretty much pick your poison. You try to stop Cameron Harris, De'Aaron King's just going to shred you in the run game. You try to stop De'Aaron King and his running ability, you're just going to get shredded by Cameron Harris in the run game. So, I mean, it's pretty much pick your poison. It's really nothing Florida State can do to stop the run. And I don't really think they have the talent to stop the run, because they weren't really all that impressed with stopping the run game of Georgia Tech a couple of weeks ago. So then, you also have to stop Brevin Jordan. Brevin Jordan is the best tight end in college football. I'm not about to debate anybody, because I'm pretty sure the only tight end you can really name in college football that is a recognizable name is Brevin Jordan. Brevin Jordan is the best player on this Miami Hurricanes offense, in my opinion. 7 receptions, 120 receiving yards last week against Louisville. So, I mean, if you're Florida State, you have to stop Brevin Jordan, because it seems like Brevin Jordan is the primary target in this passing game for the Miami Hurricanes. So, I mean, Florida State, they're going to have to figure out a way to stop him. And, I mean, that goes back to their linebacker position. Their linebacker position isn't really all that great. So, I really wonder, how is Florida State going to try to stop Brevin Jordan? Are they going to match him up with a linebacker? Because I think that's going to be a pretty big mistake. Or are they going to try to, line him up with a safety and hope that a safety can stop Brevin Jordan? So, I mean, I don't really know what Florida State's plan is going to be defensively when it comes to stopping Brevin Jordan. But, I mean, I don't really think they're going to be able to stop him either way. Then you got Mark Pope, who was their leading receiver aside from Brevin Jordan. He had 4 receptions for 64 receiving yards. He was pretty much their best receiver in that game. So, I mean, for the Miami Hurricanes, the question for them going into this game is going to be, can they also stop the run? Because they allowed 209 rushing yards against Louisville. And I don't really think the Miami Hurricanes linebackers played all that great. Zach McLeod, I know he had like a fumble recovery or something like that. But, I mean, I think he's a guy who needs to step up in this game, because I don't really like how he played against Louisville. I don't think he played bad, but I don't think he played great. Like, I think he needs to step up his game in this matchup against Florida State, because Florida State, I mean, we don't really know about their halfback position. Like, they're still trying to figure things out. Like, their two halfbacks right now are Deshaun Corbin and LaDamian Webb, who both of those guys combined for 63 rushing yards against Georgia Tech a couple of weeks ago. So, I mean, if you are the Miami Hurricanes, you need to be able to, get better play out of your linebackers. That's what I would like to see from the Miami Hurricanes in this game. I want to see the linebackers play a little bit better than what they did last week against Louisville, because Louisville was gashing the Miami Hurricanes in the run game. And for Florida State, I mean, James Blackman. For the last couple of years, James Blackman has been getting a lot of hype from Florida State fans. It's always, James Blackman has so much talent, so much potential, and yet the season starts and I don't really see it. I wasn't really all that impressed against Georgia Tech. And I mean, at this point, his job is pretty much on the line in this game. We could see James Blackman get benched in this game. And pretty much the only reliable weapon that he has on this offense, to, Florida State's credit, is Tamarion Terry, their talented wide receiver. So, I mean, they pretty much don't have a good offensive line. They don't really have all that much of a run game. And aside from Tamarion Terry, they don't really have any reliable weapons in the passing game. And you saw that against Georgia Tech. It was a lot of drop passes. So, I mean, James Blackman, him not really being all that impressive as a quarterback, I mean, he's not really in a great situation to succeed, because you're going to be playing behind an offensive line that is going to be great. You're most likely going to be getting hit all game because of how talented this Miami Hurricanes defensive line is. You also have, a lack of playmakers. You don't really have a good running back. We don't really know who is even the best halfback on this FSU roster. And aside from Tamarion Terry, you don't really have any reliable targets in the passing game. So, I mean, I'm taking Miami to win this game. I know this is a rivalry matchup, but it's simply like, I just don't see Florida State winning this game. It's just like, too many obstacles Florida State has to overcome to win this game. Like, James Blackman doesn't have a good offensive line. You're going to be getting rushed all day by this Miami Hurricanes defensive line. James Blackman is going to be running for his life. He already isn't all that big. He's pretty much as scrawny as it is. So, I mean, he's going to be getting hit. He's going to be eating turf all game because of how poor this offensive line is for FSU. On top of that, he doesn't have a run game. They can't run the football that well, and he doesn't really have any talented receivers aside from Tamarion Terry. So I think the Miami Hurricanes, if they play up to the level that they should win this game pretty convincingly. I'm taking the Miami Hurricanes to win this game 42-17 is going to be my final score prediction in this game. And the only reason I think Florida State actually scored 17 points in this game is because Miami just goes ahead and they put the reserves in and the fourth quarter. And, Florida State's able to make a little bit of something against the backups. But ultimately, I think Miami should dominate this game. 42-17 is my final score prediction in this game, Miami.